Hello and welcome to another video. Now, for the past couple months, I've been working on a new salad. This is deeply inspired by several other dishes that I've already made videos of. These include bagna cauda and Caesar salad. Now, you're probably thinking, well, there are lots of different takes on Caesar salad. What's new about this? Well, what I eventually figured out was that Caesar salad has an interesting relationship to bagna cauda in the sense that it has many of the same ingredients. There are some differences, but if we work with those differences, we can completely rethink the salad and rethink what's in it and turn it into something very, very different. So this is what we're going to cover today, and this is in basically this is a video which spans 2 days. So the first part which we'll do today is the mayonnaise dressing. This is a very special mayonnaise dressing, and I strongly recommend leaving the mayonnaise to sit in the refrigerator overnight so the flavors can fully develop. What we're going to make today is what I call the bagna cauda mayonnaise. If you don't remember, bagna cauda is this warm dip from Piedmont, which is garlic, butter, well, it's usually garlic, olive oil, and anchovies. And maybe some other ingredients. Sometimes I'll add some butter, sometimes I'll add some other things, but those 3 ingredients are primary. And so we're going to take that same dish and we're going to turn it into a mayonnaise. And if you let it sit overnight, the flavors of the anchovies and the garlic are going to permeate the mayonnaise, and you're going to get something that's really, really, really quite delicious. You could use that then with a sandwich spread, or you can use it as we will as a salad dressing. So we'll make the salad dressing slash spread today, along with the croutons, and then tomorrow we'll put it all together as a salad. For the dressing, the ingredients are pretty simple. I'm going to take half this jar of anchovy fillets. You could use anchovy paste, but I reused the oil from this, and so I strongly recommend starting with anchovies packed in oil, because that oil makes a very nice addition to the mayonnaise. I'm going to start with 1 large clove of garlic, an egg, well actually just the yolk, and the juice of 1 lime. So that's what we're going to do with this today. So I have 7 anchovy fillets here, and I've already kind of sliced the garlic up, and so I'm going to chop these together a little bit. Again, you can press the garlic and start with an anchovy paste, but you're going to lose the oil that you can use to kind of give it that just little bit of extra flavor. So once I have this kind of chopped together, you could then put it in a mortar and pestle and grind it. I don't really have a mortar and pestle, so I'm going to use my handy rock, and we'll go ahead and go from there. So again, I have this perfect rock, fairly smooth on one side, piece of limestone, and I can just mash everything together. In my view, you know, having a nice rock like this, it actually works better than a mortar and pestle in many cases. So I'm just going to grind this into a paste, and then from there we'll put this in our bowl with our egg yolk, and we will start moving. So in the end, we have a nice paste like this, and we're just going to mix this in with the egg yolk, just so that it's kind of moist. And then this will become the basis of our mayonnaise. Now, you've already watched me make mayonnaise, but normally we make mayonnaise out of fairly neutral oils, and we're not going to do that this time. I'm then going to pour about half of the oil from this anchovy jar in, and we're going to whip this up before we move forward. Now, as always, I prefer to make my mayonnaise with a whisk, and one of the interesting things about adding all the anchovies here is that the anchovies change the consistency a bit, so it's actually easier to whisk the larger amount of oil in. Of course, if you don't want an anchovy flavored mayonnaise, you're going to probably want to, add much less at once. And we can see here that it is slowly coming together. I'm going to whip this up a bit more because I'm afraid of it splitting, and then I'll be right back. Now I'm going to keep adding, starting with a little bit at a time, until the color starts to change, and then I will add more at once. Basically, I just keep whipping it. It's going to start to thicken here pretty soon, and we'll go from there. Now, this is splitting just a little bit. As a salad dressing, it's fine. If I wanted to turn it into a sandwich spread, I'd probably have to start over. But we don't necessarily need the salad dressing to be super. So I'm going to add just the juice of half a lime. I'm going to stir it around and taste it. And this is good. We don't need to add the whole lime. And I'm going to let this sit in the refrigerator in a container overnight and let the flavors fully develop, and then we'll come back for the salad tomorrow. Now, for the croutons, I have just a few ingredients. Obviously, I have one nice big piece of sort of a farmhouse-style rustic bread, and I've chosen this to go nicely with the anchovies and stuff. Some butter, garlic, salt, and pepper. And so I'm going to melt some butter, chop the bread, fry it, and then toss it with a little bit of salt, garlic powder, and pepper. So for the croutons, I have a decent amount of butter here, maybe 20-30 grams. I think to make really good croutons, it's good to have a fair bit of butter. I've cut the bread into pieces ranging from this size to a bit smaller, maybe like this size. I think for this salad, larger croutons work really well, so that's what we'll do. So as soon as this is melted and heating up, we'll put the bread in to fry. And I've actually changed my mind a little bit. I think I'm going to dust them before I fry them with just a little bit of garlic powder. So just light sprinkling, doesn't need to be a lot. And then we just flip everything over, do the same thing on the other side. We can lightly salt them here too. And there we go. I think I will lightly salt them here also. And then just flip over and repeat. And now we should be ready to fry these croutons. We could even just grate a little bit of, we can even grind a little pepper on top right now, but we'll definitely want to put more pepper on later. And so now we have the bread frying to make the croutons. And in about a few minutes, as it starts to brown, I will turn it over. And so now I'm frying this bread here. Just like with meat, we don't want to overcrowd the pan. And basically, we're frying it in the butter until it starts to get pretty brown on the other side. You can see it's starting to get brown on the other side. So we're just going to go ahead and turn these over. And I can do it with my fingers, but you might want to do them with the tongs or something. And you can see I'm already a little bit on the dark side. So I'm going to turn them over and I'll be right back. So I've turned all these over and you'll see that they're not quite evenly done. That's largely because the burner underneath is not as large as the pan. But this is the easiest burner to film on. That's somewhat large, so that's why I'm putting it here. So we're just going to go ahead and fry these until they're pretty brown on both sides. Then we'll take them off, let them cool down and crisp up. Then dust them with the garlic. So now for the post-frying stage, I'm just going to dust these with a bit of garlic pepper, a little bit of salt, and definitely some black pepper. And then I'm just going to stir them around in this mixture, or toss them with my fingers, so that some of this mixture sticks to all of these. And then we will have our lovely seasoned rustic croutons. And there we go. And we'll set these aside and we'll use them tomorrow morning, or tomorrow for the midday where we go ahead and make the salad. So here we have the main ingredients of the salad. We have what I hope to be before a bagna cauda mayonnaise, but it's now more of a bagna cauda Caesar dressing. This is what happens when mayonnaise splits, is the oil all comes off to the top. And so for salad dressing, it's easy enough. Just whisk it until it's smooth, and nobody will care. It just won't be thick like mayonnaise would be. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Again, if this was a sandwich spread, I'd have to handle it differently. I have radishes, radicchio, red pepper, and Belgian endive, also known as chicory. Then I have some croutons. Now, you're thinking a traditional Caesar salad is always romaine lettuce. This is more of a approach that's taking an angle from bagna cauda. So the main criteria for these items here is that they go great with bagna cauda. Same with the kind of bread I use for the croutons. So we talked a little bit about using a darker farmhouse bread for this. That's why. So we're going to go ahead and prep everything, and I'll come back to make the salad. For the endive, I'm going to basically break the leaves in half, so that we still have nice pieces. And I'm going to go ahead and add a large part of the whole endive in here. For the radicchio, radicchio is a lot more bitter. It's actually the same species, but it's grown differently. And it's also a different subspecies, so it looks red instead of white, or instead of green. But I'm just going to take 1 or 2 leaves, and I'm going to break it into smaller pieces. And the main purpose here is radicchio goes surprisingly well in bagna cauda, and it's also going to add a bit more flavor and a bit more color to the salad. So then I've sliced the red peppers and the radishes. And finally, we will put croutons on top. Now, if your sauce is much thicker, it actually works to take the bread and just cut it into pieces and put it in as a crouton. So after this, I'm going to whisk my sauce one more time so it's perfectly smooth. And then I'm going to ladle a little bit over the top and toss it. Oh, look at that. And that should be enough. Then I'm going to go ahead and toss it, put it on a plate, and present it. So now we've tossed the salad, and it's pretty well evenly coated. So I'm just going to kind of push it onto a plate, and then we'll figure out what to do to improve the presentation. So what I've decided to use for a garnish are just 2 little slices of red pepper. I've chosen that for 2 reasons. First, they go very nicely in the salad. As you saw, I included them. And secondly, these are a slightly different shape and size, and we can just put them on top like this, maybe in a cross-shaped pattern to add just a little bit of sort of extra to this. We could also set them something like this or something, but I think having the skin up in like a cross pattern seems like it looks a little nicer, so we'll go ahead and do that. And here we go, my ultimate salad, based very much on bagna cauda, Caesar salad, and a few others. And now for the taste test. I love how the endives bitterness goes very nicely with the anchovies in the sauce. I'm going to go ahead and taste it with these other veggies. This is very, very good. It's very different from a Caesar salad in its composition, but the dressing is kind of similar. But the overall flavor profiles here are very bright, and they are very lively. And they take this in a very different direction than I think you would see from Caesar cardini or similar. So I really like the salad. It's great. You got to try it. Anyway, thank you very much. Bon appetit, and see you next week.